in family mediation. Welcome to this keynote presentation, Family Property Innovative Technologies in Family Mediation. The session forms part of the International Mediation Awareness Week 2022. We acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples as traditional custodians of Australia and pay respect to elders past, present and emerging. We recognise their continuing connection to lands, waters and community and welcome any First Nations people with us today. We come to you from the lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. The International Mediation Awareness Week was created to showcase mediation taking place across the world. The Mediator Network team has set out to encourage more engagement with this form of dispute resolution by using this week and activities throughout the year to promote mediation at an international and regional level. We are working with a growing number of organisations and individuals to bring you the International Mediation Awareness Week, and we're delighted that we're joined by so many amazing and passionate individuals who help make this a success. This week is brought to you by and managed by the Mediator Network in collaboration with our global partners and regional coordinators. In Australia, that is Joanne Law and the Mediation Institute. Today, our events are sponsored by FamilyProperty. FamilyProperty is a legal tech software that empowers professionals to more accurately and efficiently prepare, model and document family law outcomes. You can find out more and request a demo at familyproperty.com.au. I am Tara Haddock and I shall be your session host. I'm the Head of Client Success at FamilyProperty and a mediator and FDRP with the Resolution and Mediation Group. I'll be introducing our presenter shortly. Before I do, I just need to remind you of some house rules. And part of that, our session today is being recorded, so please be aware of that if you don't want to be on the recording. If you do drop off the session, please do log back in and we will let you back in. And a big welcome to all our participants. So please use the chat and let us know where you are located. Please use the chat also to ask any questions to the presenter, and we will have time to do a Q&A at the end of the session. So I am delighted to introduce to you Fiona Kirkman, who is the CEO and co-founder of FamilyProperty. Fiona is an accredited specialist in family law, mediator, FDRP and collaborative coach. She runs her own family mediation practice, Kirkman Family Law, which is focused on resolution without court. Fiona understands the challenges family lawyers and mediators face, particularly time and cost pressures, and believes that FamilyProperty greatly assists family law professionals focus on outcomes, not admin. Thank you, Fiona. Now over to you.
Thank you very much, Tara, and to the International Mediation Awareness Week. I'm privileged to speak at this event today. And if you've just joined us, as Tara said, I'd love you to add into the chat where you're from, what your mediation practice is, and any questions you have as we go through the talk today. As Tara said, I'm going to be talking about innovative technologies in family mediation today. I'm going to start with the basics. So what is legal technology? What is artificial intelligence? Then we'll drill down as to the importance of looking at identifying the pain points that technology can help with. And then what are some of those innovative technologies in family law mediation, including I'll do a family property demo. We'll then look at successful implementation of technology into your family mediation practice and some tips around that. And then we'll leave some time, hopefully, for some Q&A at the end. So please feel free to add questions in as we go, and if they pop up and it's relevant to the topic, I'll answer them as I go. Otherwise, I'll leave some time at the end. Thank you. So legal technology, if you can add in maybe to the chat what you think legal technology is, what you think artificial intelligence is, and whether you use it at all in your mediation practice. That would be great. For those that are new to this area, legal technology refers to the use of technology and software to provide legal services and support the legal industry. So it's technology for the legal industry. And you may also hear of artificial intelligence, and that's where there's a simulation of human intelligence, so what humans would normally do, in machines or computers that are programmed to think and act like humans. So I'm going to be touching on and using these terms today: legal technology and artificial intelligence. And interestingly, there was an article this morning in the Lawyers Weekly about artificial intelligence and legal research, intelligence augmented. And it talked about what AI and legal technology is and what it is not. And it used the example that AI is not a means by which the responsibility of legal decision making is turned over to an unchecked algorithm. So not something that we're completely handing over for a robot to manage the mediations, managing the legal world, but it is instead a powerful tool which we as family law professionals can enhance and augment our own capabilities, driving efficiencies and bring about competitive edge, removing the need to expend scarce resources on time-consuming and repetitive manual work by automating, accelerating, and enhancing processes. So what we're looking with our artificial intelligence, some people, it is being used in alternative dispute resolution, but some people might say, is a robot going to replace the work of a trained mediator? Some are concerned that the robots might replace us and our role as mediators and become the master of us. Others talk about AI helping us to do things more efficiently and effectively. Others talk about, well, what else could AI do now and or in the future? And so you'll find that there's some stark evangelists in the AI and technology space, and then there's some that are outright criticizing and concerned about what AI could do in the future. With the legal industry and the mediation industry, I would say we're probably about 10 years behind the finance industry and other industries. And so we're playing catch up a little when it comes to legal technology and AI. But I think, thankfully, one of the benefits of COVID is it's propelled us into the technology world and using technology, in my view, to make things more efficient and more effective. So I'll be touching on that today. So typewriters, hands up or add into the chat, who started their legal mediation, social science career using a typewriter? That was me. My role was typing envelopes and taking phone messages where I would type the phone message on a typewriter. So this was the technology of my time, perhaps not as old school as this photo, but this was the technology that I was using. Move ahead, 20 plus years on, and I'm using a range of technologies in both my mediation practice, Kirkman Family Law, as well as our legal tech practice, Family Property. So I want to touch on what are some of these technologies and how they can be used in your mediation practice. And I want you to add into the chat which ones, if any, you use as we go through them and how you've found it helpful in your mediation practice to make things more effective and efficient. So Office productivity, Office 365, Teams, Google Drive, Slack as a communication tool. Who uses those technologies? They're fairly standard technologies. Some may be new to Slack. It's really helpful from an online team to help in the communication of different parts of your business. But hopefully most of you are using either Office or Google Drive, Google Docs, etc., to help in the productivity of documents, etc. We then talk about billing, and it's doing the invoicing, getting paid for the work, getting legal funding to help your clients pay for the work. Stripe has been a real game changer in getting online credit card payments. We use that in both Kirkman Family Law and Family Property, and it's a great automated process with getting payments, sending out invoices, sending out receipts. Plenty and Just Fund are legal funding tools. So if your client is going through a legal process or collaborative mediation, there are products out there that can help fund that process. If your clients, for example, have a property that they're selling and they need to wait until the settlement of the sale of the property, they can use Plenty or Just Fund to get some funding upfront to pay lawyers, pay mediators, etc. And then those funds will be repaid upon settlement. Video conferencing. We're obviously all familiar with Zoom, being on Zoom now. There's others though, RDO and iMediation, that are gaining in popularity, of course, with Teams, Microsoft Teams. The family courts here in Australia are using Microsoft Teams to conduct online dispute resolution and online court events. But there are like RDO and iMediation specific to dispute resolution video conferencing platforms. Practice management. So Smokeball Family Property Works is now owned by Smokeball. That's a practice management system that's not just for lawyers, but has a mediation type. So it's a good platform for mediators to use. And Practice Evolve or Evolve Go is another platform for larger practices. But there's also others like ACT, Halaxy, Modron in that practice management space to really help with managing the business of doing mediation. Scheduling, so Calendly, Acuity Scheduling, and a new one that's popped up that's very good is Law Concierge, which helps in the booking of a mediator or a lawyer, and it's a network of professionals where you can cross-refer and book them. So scheduling, add into the chat, which scheduling tool do you use, with scheduling being quite a problem sometimes in trying to arrange the availability of party A, party B, mediator, both lawyers. I know at the moment, I think Beth's online here, the scheduling of my diary, particularly in the lead up to Christmas, is quite difficult. So having a scheduling tool and using that technology to automate that practice can be really helpful. And then lastly, project management. So we use Monday.com, Salesforce, I've used Asana and HubSpot. Or if you're working on specific projects, those are really helpful in task management and to collate that information, allocate tasks, set a timeline of when the project is to be done and sort of key project deadlines, etc. So all technology that can be used and should be used in your mediation practice to look at where is there a pain point and how can technology assist. And then technology in family mediations, family law technology specific products. So Amica, you may have heard of Amica. That is an AI tool to help separated families go through both parenting and property matters. And it was started with funding from the government. Legal Aid South Australia helped in the development of that. And it is a predictive tool that interestingly keeps out lawyers and mediators. It is designed though for simple family law matters, as it says, simple, smart separation. And to do it collaboratively with party A, party B, together using the online tool. So Amica is an important one to be aware of in this family mediation space. Our Family Wizard, a great post-separation communication tool, has a calendar, etc. One to look at. There's a variety of others in that post-separation communication tool area. A due if you're looking for something that helps with collection of documents. They have a platform called One Click Disclosure that helps get the financial documents, the property valuations, etc., all into one neat little package. New ways for families. I'm sure there's a session on that. I think it's today or tomorrow. Bill Eddy sort of heads up the new ways for families as a communication or post-separation communication course that people going through separation, particularly around the parenting arrangements, can look at being more, continuing to be effective co-parents together. And again, that's a tech tool course that really helps. Setify is another one in the intake space to gather information. And then FamilyProperty is our product, which FamilyProperty is an expert system in family law that provides industry-leading tools to help accurately prepare, model, and document financial and parenting arrangements. So unlike some of the other technology, which is helping in the business or working on the business of and managing the clients and managing the billing and the scheduling, the practice management, FamilyProperty is designed to be in the work, doing the family mediations, and to assist in the admin of doing those family mediations, from intake to more effectively collect the information you need for a family mediation, disclosure to help more effectively and efficiently collect and exchange the documents with the other side for a family mediation. And then at the heart of FamilyProperty is a dashboard that has an interactive balance sheet for you to model out, save and share financial proposals. So it's all auto-calculating. A parenting calendar for you to visually model out the parenting arrangements. And then we have a suite of automated documents where you can automatically, at a click of a button, generate a balance sheet, generate a proposals document, generate a heads of agreement when people reach an agreement for a financial matter, a parenting plan in a parenting matter once they've reached an agreement, and a whole other suite of documents. So if we go into the family mediation process, what we need to consider in our own practice is what are the pain points. In my experience of over 20 years in the family law industry, I've found it can be very manual, very error prone, and fraught with inefficiencies, particularly around the administration of conducting a family mediation. You're often reinventing the wheel, typing out the parenting plan, then copying and pasting from an old one to a new one and tweaking it as specific to the client situation, getting the information for the balance sheet and realizing that the lawyers have miscalculated the figures and then calculating those figures manually by pen and paper and calculator, all prone to errors and accuracy, of course, when you're modeling out proposals, particularly for financial, but also when you're looking at parenting. It's really important to have that accuracy and also to have a visual cue, particularly when we're doing online mediations, for the clients to be able to visually see what happens in proposal A, what happens in proposal B, proposal C, etc. So how can technology assist with these manual, error-prone and inefficient processes? What you need to do in your mediation practice is look at what are the pain points. There's no point in implementing technology if there's no pain points. You need to instead look at where are the pain points, what is the work you like to do that makes you happy as a mediator, and what are the work that makes you sad or angry, and also so map that out in your process mediation workflow, but also from your client's perspective. What on the journey do they have to do? So they have to provide you information. How are they doing that at the moment? Can that be improved? They have to provide you potentially documents to confirm values of assets, liabilities, and superannuation. How are they doing in that at the moment? How can that be improved? And where there's a problem for the mediator and also a problem for the client, that's probably a good place to start, where both people are very sad, and that's the identified problem that needs solving, and something that you should start exploring. How can technology assist, automate that process? Where there's a lot of automation, as my techie husband Tim would say, there's a lot of opportunity for technology to automate that process. Okay, so repetition, manual processes, a lot of admin. That's where there's a lot of good opportunity for technology, and that's where legal technology can really help, which then in turns frees you up to hopefully do the work that makes you happy, resolving, helping in the conflict coaching, helping in the negotiation, and helping your clients reach an outcome. So I'd encourage you to take a snapshot of that and look at mapping your workflow as a mediator and your client's workflow as a client as they go through your mediation practice. So if you could add into the chat, what are some of your biggest pain points in conducting family mediations? Okay, some examples here, and we're going to go through this in a moment. The general admin of running the business of family mediation, the billing, the scheduling, the collecting the information, disclosure of the documents, accurately modelling the proposals, drafting the documents. What are some of the pain points that you can already identify in working on your business or working in your mediation that technology might assist with? Add it into the chat. I'd love to hear. Add that, maybe Tara, you can add that question, your biggest pain points in conducting family mediation, into the chat so that I can then go through some of these in more detail. Thank you. So pain point of intake. Intakes in family mediation, I find, can be quite time consuming. It's often quite manual and error prone, with lots of phone calls, lots of emails to get the client in, but then also to get the information you need to be able to effectively conduct the mediation. As Patrick Parkinson comments in his research, the early stages of information gathering can be quite time consuming and therefore costly to clients. The benefits of technology, I've looked at some research of the benefits of technology in intake. Kissmaker quotes that technology in the intake phase can encourage self-reliance by improving control so that the clients feel more over control of the conflict process, and they can better understand both party A's position, party B's position, and the motivations for the conflict. And you'll see in family property, when I do a showcase, it can help for them to think about not only their perspective in the questionnaire questions as an example, but the other side, thinking about, well, what was the other side's contributions at the commencement of the relationship, during the relationship, post-separation, so that it also provides structure and it helps the client understand what needs to be done, and as he quotes, can bring about peace of mind. That, as you know, when people are going through family mediation and separation process, their amygdala sometimes gets hijacked and they can be in that fight, flight, freeze mode, and it can feel very chaotic and difficult to make decisions. And by having a clear process, which technology can help with, so a clear intake, it can really help bring about some more control, more structure, and even positive psychology. So if within your intake, like we do a little bit with family property, it provides some hints, helpful tips, education can also help them, I guess, come back into that logical decision-making way, which is really what we need as mediators to be able to effectively conduct the mediation. In addition, for us in the intake stage, it can really help because the clients are doing things in their own space and time 24/7, and then it can help us triage what needs to be done and help everyone, so the mediators, potentially the lawyers and the clients, be better prepared for their matter. Okay, so adding to the chat, how do you currently do intake, and how could that potentially be improved? Pain point of disclosure. For me and for lawyers that I speak to, and for mediators as well, it's a critical part of the family law process to make sure that you've got documents to back up what you say is the value of the property or the business, etc. But it can be one of the most frustrating and, Gringus and Morrison say, dehumanizing processes, as it sort of dismantles the history of the client's relationship into dollars and cents, and clients can really struggle spending countless hours gathering, submitting, exchanging and explaining all of those financial documents. And this can be a real human cost to both the clients that find it frustrating to gather the information and explain it, but also for you as mediators and the lawyers that you might be working with. So with technology can help simplify for the clients what needs to be provided. I know for some mediators, or lawyers, we send out a big list. This is all the things we might need. And it doesn't appear to be specific to their situation. Sometimes the clients, if you're doing face-to-face mediations, they're bringing it. I used to have clients bring documents in a big washing basket and say, here's the documents. And to go through all those documents, organize them, categorize them, and then index them used to take so much of my time as a lawyer, but also as a mediator. And obviously, most people with COVID have changed to emailing the documents, but emails can be problematic too. They're not always secure. They're not encrypted when you're sending bank statements, etc. And there's often a limit of the size of documents, and then you might have to send multiple emails. And so it can become quite disorganized. Whereas having a document disclosure portal can really help automate what documents need to be provided, automatically categorize those documents, and they can upload and zip them up from their computers, from their phones, etc. Next pain point that people talk to me about is the figures. We're not all excellent at maths. Some of us hate doing the maths, and it can get quite complex when you're modeling out, okay, party A wants these values and wants to model out what's a 50-50, 60-40, 70-30. Then party B wants to model out different values and 55, 65, 75, etc. And as you're modelling out different percentages, different proposals, if you're doing it manually, which still so many people do, pen and paper, calculator, or on the whiteboard, the risk of error is very high. I find in mediations where the lawyers aren't using technology and doing a manual balance sheet, often I'm getting a balance sheet that has miscalculations. And that's problematic. It takes time to resolve, look at, oh, where was that error, etc. Whereas using technology, like an Excel spreadsheet on steroids, you know that the calculations are correct. Okay. It also can be much more visual and user-friendly, and it enables you to work out various sets of proposals. So this is option A, B, C, D, etc. And what we do in our platform is we auto-populate those figures into proposals or into agreements. Okay. Next pain point, document drafting. So we find with document drafting, it can be quite time consuming to be drafting, say, the parenting plan, drafting the heads of agreement, and you can feel like you're reinventing the wheel. Copy and paste, again, error prone if you're copying from a previous template and you've forgotten to change the names of the parties, always problematic and risk factor there. Also, if you're managing other staff within your mediation practice, if you're always doing it manually from scratch, that's problematic as you're trying to teach your other staff members to have the consistency of the parenting plan or heads of agreement. And so that manual, time-consuming, error-prone process can really become a pain point in family mediation. What technology can do is it can really help reduce the errors. It can help with faster creation of documents, decrease the ramp or training time for new staff because there's the templates there. And if you need to update things, you update it once. You don't have to update it manually each time. So it can be a really powerful, disruptive and sustaining technology that can help bring the short-term results of automating the proposal or the heads of agreement at a click of a button, but also long-term results in ongoing productivity, ongoing profit. So with that said, I'll briefly, if anyone wants to add anything further into the chat, I'll share my screen. So this is, can everyone see that? Hopefully, yes, good. So family property, I just wanted to demonstrate briefly the functionality with family property and how it can help with, if you do have the pain points of intake and or disclosure and or figures and or document drafting. Okay. Our intake is available 24/7. It can be embedded on your website to help capture leads and get more clients in, which is a pain point of some of you getting more mediation work. So having a platform that you can promote and embed on your website can be really helpful. We've got clients that do that, not necessarily the whole intake. We've got clients that just do the personal details and where you're at section, as an example. Others might want all of the information. So this questionnaire can be customized in that you have not completely customized the questions, but you can ask specific parts of it all at once or in parts, and then you can ask the other parts at a later time. So as you can see, this is a partially populated one, the family of Bella and Edward Cullen, and it has information about their personal details, relationship details. So quickly you can find out, is there a time limitation issue, as an example? The children, you can quickly find out what ages are the children, the current living arrangements. So are they living separately and apart under the one roof? That might be a bit of a red flag for you. Are they living with a new partner? Again, that might be a red flag for you. So really helpful information for you pre the mediation intake. So I often send this questionnaire after I've had initial chat with them and said, this is my mediation process. Would you be interested? Yes, we are. Okay, I'll send you a questionnaire. Fill this questionnaire in, and then we'll do the pre-mediation conference. It saves so much time in gathering that information, and then I can focus on conflict coaching and modelling out proposals and understanding what's the real reason these parties are in dispute. What is the real at the heart of this conflict that needs resolution? Then if it's a financial matter, so property settlement, it has information about income and expenses, assets and super. And unlike, old school forms where it would have to have every question, if they don't have a business, then it's no. If they do have a business, yes, then they ask more questions about that business or businesses. They can add multiple. Trust, no. Superannuation gives them some information. What are the different types of super funds? Then there's the ability to add liabilities. And then, as I said in the opening, it gives them an opportunity to add in what the other party's assets, liabilities, and super are. Contributions at commencement while living together and since separation. So it starts to educate them on what's not just going to be, in Australia, a 50-50 split, or it's not 70-30 because that's what my friend Mary down the street got, but the process for financial settlement is unique to my situation based on the asset pool, contributions at the commencement, during relationship, post-separation, and my future needs or his future needs. So care of children, difference in income earning capacity, lump sums, etc. And then it also gives you, your client, the opportunity to add in regards to what were the other side's contributions and future needs as well. There is a section on their current situation. This asks questions about where they're at and getting legal advice, counselling, financial advice. Do they have sufficient supports? All really important as mediators to understand where they're at in the emotional grief process and the journey of separation. Are there any orders, family law orders, family violence orders, bankruptcy, etc., we need to be aware of? Family violence, and it gives information about family violence. Again, tailored if they're in Victoria, if they're in Queensland, tailored to their situation. So this is New South Wales. So we're just talking about New South Wales. This is not designed, though, to replace the screening that you need to do as a mediator to assess for whether a mediation is appropriate, but it helps you make sure that you're covering off everything. And if there's a yes, to delve deeper into those questions. This is taken a little bit from family law doors and other screening assessments in Australia, and it really helps to look at family violence issues, as well as capacity like drug, alcohol, substance abuse, mental health issues, etc. And I do find, having done this, these questions, people do fill it out and do want to talk about it. And it is, for a mediator, the opportunity to gather that information and then be able to spend the time asking them more about that in the pre-mediation. Last section is around the parenting arrangements. So asking information about the individual children, their schools, their medical issues, is there any family violence, the parenting arrangements, who looks after them, etc. So that's the parenting part. And so that's the whole of the intake, or as I said, you could ask it in parts. What family property does then, and that this is where the magic lies, is that it then helps with the other pain points in your family mediation practice. So if you're a mediation practice that collects documents, what it does is it looks at all the information that has been collated, and it makes recommendations as to the documents, and if you turn it on, the tasks, as to what the client needs to do to back that up with the documents or the evidence to support that. So it will say the house, upload appraisals, council rates, bank statements for your bank accounts, red book search, registration papers for the motor vehicles, credit card statements, super statement, the contribution that you said you made at the beginning of the relationship of the $60,000, parenting, if there's a family violence order or school reports that are relevant, proceedings, so if there is a bankruptcy order, etc., to upload that, income, so tax returns, pay slips, etc. So they can easily then go in, browse on their phone, and upload that document. They can either make it accessible straight away to the other side, or you can have control of that as a mediator and when to upload that. And that document will not just go into your emails, but will be saved against that particular item of income. And then you can get that in an index, download all the documents at the one time, or get that as a shareable link. So you can do that as a mediator, but your clients can also do that. And they know there's a duty of disclosure. You need to provide disclosure. Why do you need to provide disclosure? And all of the information there's about assets, liabilities, super considerations, etc., all categorized, all indexed, etc. Feel free to add questions if you'd like. We then have, and I'll just take you to the balance sheet. As I said, often there's a pain point around we're not mathematicians, and doing the maths can be a bit difficult. What family property does is the information's collected in the intake form, and it automatically calculates the assets, the liabilities, and the super. And you can model that out with your client exactly what they want to do. As you go through with them, each item, Bella wants to retain this, sell. She wants to retain her car. Edward would retain his car and his bank accounts. What does that look like? 80. So she might say, oh, I want 85, that's what I want. Ideally, you might say, okay, 85%, that's option one. But what has Edward said? Well, Edward wants 50-50. Okay, well, what's the difference there? You can put in automatically, what's a 50-50? Okay, you can see there is a payment to Edward from Bella of $351,000. Okay, so a bit far off at the moment in the mediation. You can save that as option 2. And you can continue to build out. So she might say, all right, well, maybe 70-30 is something that my lawyer has said. That's something reasonable. 70-30, what does that look like? 70-30, we can have advanced settings there. But all of these can then be shared. So you can share that option with your client, take that away, get legal advice on it. Okay. With the balance sheet, you can use that in a pre-mediation session, but you can also use a neutral balance sheet for the actual mediation. And that's where party A's figures and party B's figures come together. And you can see here, it highlights in red what's in agreement, and green, sorry, red what's in disagreement or dispute, and green what's in agreement. And so you can go through and you can say, okay, well, the property market has gone down. Yes, we agree, that's to be retained. Oh, yes, we didn't include that 5,000 bank account, we'll add that. And you can go through with the parties and go, we're in agreement on X, Y, and Z. And then you can quickly see what the proposal is for Bella and what the proposal is for Edward. You can go through each item and model out those proposals. Okay. The benefit of this, as well, as I said, with document automation, is there's a whole suite of joint documents, parenting, agreements, disclosure, etc. And you can, at a click of a button, put in what the proposal is, the balance sheet, the considerations, etc. And that will highlight, I'll just share my screen here. It will highlight those points in agreement and points in dispute. Okay, so what Bella's proposal is, we haven't put a proposal in yet for Edward, but it will set out what the agreements are, what the percentage is, what the payment would be, the summary of the proposal in words as well, highlighted into different categories, real estate, liabilities, motor vehicles, etc. Okay. All of the click of a button, and the same with the heads of agreement. Once they reach an agreement, those documents are there. For any lawyers, we do also have property orders, parenting orders, and we're building out the FCFCOA forms. All of this information is encrypted. It's hosted here in Australia and backed up here in Australia. We have multiple encryptions. We've got a whole security page. We do work with big organisations, such as government organisations, etc. So we had to go through a lot of rigmarole with security. So we're confident that it is a secure platform. Last thing I'll show you before I'll discuss briefly implementation generally of technology is we do have a parenting platform. So you can set out the details of the children. All of that is come in through the intake. Then you can set out what's an alternating weeks look like, what's alternating weekends, specific arrangements, etc. You can then set out school holidays, a general schedule, with Bella, swapping every Sunday at, say, 5 p.m. School holidays, we'll do share the half, starting with Bella, alternating each year. We can add or remove Christmas periods. It automatically sets out all the dates for, say, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, and information about changeovers and other things. And that's then automatically sets out a parenting calendar. I'll bring that out in a second. Sorry, just taking a bit of time to load. Just going to try. Oh, there we go. So you can see here, you can model out what time does Edward have, what time does Bella have. You can print and save various versions of that, have a fortnightly, monthly calendar. And as you go through that, that's a really helpful visual tool for your clients. And all of that is then generated into a parenting plan. So at a click of a button, because the clients put the information in there, the parenting plan is generated with their details, the details of the children. And this is a template that you can amend each alternate, starting from the parenting arrangements, and all the special occasions there. All correct names, saving you a whole heap of time in drafting. Okay, so hopefully that's showcased how technology might help you implement, help with the pain points of a family mediation. Just some last things is, importantly, how do we implement technology into your mediation practice? A quick video. Hopefully you can hear this.
Mr. Ponton, I believe you have a filter turned on in the video settings. You might want to
can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
I can see that. I think if you click the up arrow next to this.
So hopefully, I'm sure many of you have seen that video, but what it highlights is some people do struggle a little with the technology adoption. You might be an innovator in your practice, or you might be one that takes a bit of time to learn. But what we've found in our experience of implementing technology into mediation practices and law firms is that the change is more than just what is, here's the software, we're going to use it. It does take that psychological change as well. And for there to be a belief that the technology will help you become a more successful, profitable business and a better mediator as well. But there needs to be a commitment that it might take a bit of time to implement. And you may need to work with a coach, both within your firm, so that tech-savvy person within your mediation practice or organisation, and external. So we have people like Tara, who's head of client success, and a whole training team who are family lawyers or family mediators to help work with you, to coach you and help you through that change management process. We also have found that the benefits of integrating software. So investigate, when you're looking at technology generally, look at how can you implement with the current technology you use, and maybe set some time aside to have a one-on-one demo and ask the questions around, what technology do you use now, what you'd like to use in the future, and how can the technology grow with you as your business hopefully grows. So we integrate with Smokeball and Evolve Go. Smokeball and Evolve Go has a mediation type. So if you're looking for a mediation practice management system, that's helpful. So what I'd really encourage you is, what are the family mediators of the future going to need? I've done some research in this area and looked at Susskind and other sort of legal tech innovators, and they talk about the mediators and lawyers of the future will need the IQ, so the technical skills of how to conduct a mediation, the EQ or the emotional intelligence, which as we know is so important as a mediator, that they're on this emotional journey and to manage those emotions of the parties and sometimes the lawyers themselves as well. And then artificial intelligence. So the AI or the legal technology, that will be a big part of the mediation practice and the legal practice of the future, that you'll need to have all three as the winning combination to be a successful family mediator of the future. So add into the chat, where do you feel you sit in the innovation curve, or your mediation practice sits? Are you on that green end of the innovator, always wanting to look and implement new technology? Are you in the yellow phase, which is an early adopter, often looking at early stage, but not completely innovator, but you want to get in there early? And then there's a bit of a chasm to the early majority, and we're finding we're starting to get those early majority clients, which is exciting, going on to the majority there, the late majority, and then the laggards who might still be using that typewriter. So it's important to see where you are and where you want to be for the future, noting where family mediators of the future are going to be in the technology space. So we'd love to give a demo if you're an Australian family mediator, or if you're in the United States. We've just got on the line here, Sarah, I don't know if you can turn your video on there, our president of Family Property US. We're looking at researching going into the US in the coming years. So if you're interested to learn more, please reach out to us, familyproperty.com.au or hello@familyproperty. And if you do subscribe, we're willing to give the 50% off the training and Q. So thank you. I think I've just allowed about 4 minutes for questions, not a lot of time. There was a lot of content there, so apologies, Tara, but I might stop my screen share and you can cover off any questions, Tara.
Great, thank you so much.
Add them into the chat.
Thank you so much, Fiona. That was a very informative presentation. We do have a couple of questions. One being, how has your process, your mediation process changed with implementing family property?
So in the past, well, in a long time in the past, I was using the typewriter to do everything, but since doing that, I used to, as a lawyer and a mediator with intakes, collect information and just jot down on my notepad all of the information, and then I would type it up into my practice management system and sort of manually type everything. And I really feel that intake questionnaire that then auto-populates into the client portal recommendations, into the balance sheet, into the documents, really saves me time in my mediations from an intake and balance sheet perspective. And I find the neutral balance sheet when I'm actually doing the mediation really enables me to visually showcase to the client what's in agreement, what's in disagreement, etc. So that's really helped change the way I do practice, particularly because in the past I was probably doing 90% face-to-face and 10% online, but now it's reversed with COVID. So I'm doing 90% online and 10% in person. So having that visual prompt and for the clients to focus on that neutral balance sheet and see how much progress they've made is really helpful.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's been a real shift with that in those initial stages, that the client's doing a bit of the work for you now, which is a big win for us all. Fiona, now one of the pain points is around business development. Are you planning to turn family property into a market, including reviews of mediators and so on?
Good idea. Not necessarily right at this moment. I know Joanne Law, who heads up Mediation Institute and Interact Support. She's got panels of mediators and lawyers. So that may be an option we can discuss, Joanne, but not right at the moment. We do have over 200 family mediators and lawyers on the platform. So there is possibly an opportunity for more collaboration, because we've also got what's called a mediation sync and a mediation transfer code. So with a click of a button, you can transfer information from one family property account user's account to another. So that ability to work and collaborate between mediation and lawyers, I think is an exciting potential future opportunity.
Fantastic, thank you. Is there any more questions before we do wrap up? I think we've hit 10:30. Anything else that anyone wanted to add before we wrap up? Great. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for attending today's session. I'd like to say a huge thank you to our presenter, Fiona Kirkman, for a wonderful session, the Mediator Network and the Mediation Institute, our sponsors, collaborators and volunteers who have all contributed to making this week a success. Please do book on for some of the other events that are taking place today. You can do that by logging into the portal, and I will pop that into the chat. We do also have an opportunity for some networking and morning tea discussion following this session. So if you'd like to stay in the session, we'll follow on. The next presentation will be, and that also will not be recorded. I'll just pop that in there. But also just to let you know, the next presentation will be with Rebecca Harvey, Jeannie Magri and Bonnie Douglas on priming families, breaking down the barriers to mediation. So that session will start at 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So thank you.